years ago won't buy much of anything here today.
And why the millennial generation is starting to give.
It's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
Liability. RTD Live Talk. It's Wednesday night, the 26th day of the month of September, and we're live. You're viewing Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show, and today is going to be a great one because I have a special guest joining us. He's actually a member of the RTD community, a well-informed individual who's involved in the credit card payment processing sector, and he's a Litecoin enthusiast who believes that Litecoin is going to be the way for all of us to go in the days ahead. And so before we get into today's interview, I have John Moore from out in New Jersey checking in with us tonight. So we're going to go back and forth. So if you're new to RTD, make sure you give us a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, as well as let us know where you're watching us from in the chat. And so I'll give it a second before I get this turn the screen to John. And so, as always, feel free. The number's above me, 1-833-LIVE-RTD. Give us a call. Ask any questions you have in relevance to the payment processing side, whether to get your questions answered. So, let's get into the interview. I'm excited for this one.
About the last year, I've been offering Litecoin and Bitcoin as payment forms to my customer.
Go wrong on you. Let me
Exactly.
let me so we should be good. Is the audio good?
Sounds good on my end. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's make sure everybody else can hear you. It says pause, no sound. So people, give me a thumbs up. Let me know if the sound is good. Like always, I had to do some last minute adjusting on my end. It says, Mike, you are muted still. So no sound. Wow. Okay. So let me figure this out. This is not good. I hate when I don't have any sound. And so let me play with something. It says you're back. Audio good. Okay. There we go. So John, we're good.
Okay, beautiful,
all right,
beautiful.
So if they hear me, they hear you. So everybody's good. So, okay, so basically they didn't hear anything we talked about in the first couple of seconds. So everybody, welcome to RTD Live Talk. I'm excited to have a guest tonight, Mr. John Moore out of New Jersey. He's a credit card payment processor, and he's also a Litecoin enthusiast. So he's joining us to share his thoughts on everything that's happening. And you also attended the Litecoin Summit, and so I saw your video, did a great job presenting out there. So want to find out about the whole Litecoin experience out there. But before we go move any further, welcome to RTD, everybody in the chat. Apologize for the technical glitch. And so other than that, but John Moore, who's John Moore? And give us a little bit about who John Moore is.
Sure, guys. So I've been a credit card processor for about the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm VP of a company called Nationwide Merchant Solutions. We offer credit card solutions, like point-of-sale cash register solutions, all across the United States. We're based in New Jersey, so most of our customers are. And I got into offering Litecoin primarily as a payment option about a year ago. I just saw it as a better form of money, better form of payment, and I want to educate the public about what this stuff's all about.
Right. Now, so you got into Litecoin payment about a year ago. So before we get into the adoption that you're promoting with the Litecoin accepted here shirt and things of that nature, let's go back a little further as to the whole beginning of the credit card processing and some of the blueprints of how that operates.
Sure. So it's there's a lot of problems that go on behind the scenes that the public is just totally not being told or not aware of. Let me give you a few of the problems that go on. Do you guys know what a chargeback is? Are you familiar with what that is?
I've heard about it briefly, yes, but break it down for us.
So a chargeback is a cardholder dispute. So when a credit card's processed at a business, they get the money within like a day or two, but up to 6 months after that sale occurs, the money can get taken back from them. So that's a really long time to have to worry about, did you have any type of fraud that goes on? So obviously you can imagine that's a huge problem with people that sell items of value.
Yeah.
If they sell over the phone or online. So that's a big problem that's kind of going on. Another huge problem that isn't talked about at all, it's called synthetic identity theft. And what that is like every day in my office, we get a fake application for somebody that wants to set up a merchant account. And they stole somebody's identity. They set up a website that mirrors the company's website, fake email addresses, fake bank accounts, everything. And they're offloading stolen credit card numbers and everything. And the system is powerless against stopping this, because when these merchant credit card accounts are approved, it's approved based on the owner's personal credit. So if they steal someone's identity that has good credit, they're going to get a high credit limit on that merchant processing account, and they can make off with tens of thousands of dollars from one account.
Wow. So is that something that's common, or is it? I mean, criminals will find a way to make things happen. So is that something that's common, or is it every now and then? And is it easy to do as far as knowing people's identity, all their personal information, or?
This is so common that we see it every day. It got to the point where I stopped doing any type of marketing online, because all we did was get these like fraudsters, we call them. So no, it's happening constantly. I suspect that every single American's identity is compromised right now. It's not if, it's when they decide to use it. So yeah, no, it's a huge problem. And the funny thing is, what your audience will be interested in, nobody really seems to lose in this situation. So like, if we were to put these customers through as new accounts, we're still going to make a commission. So there's like no incentive to like police this as the company. So to me, I'm just like, I shake my head. I go, well, where does the money go? Like, if we're not losing money, like who's actually losing the money in this situation? So I just suspect that it's more money being printed behind the scenes to kind of make everybody whole.
Yeah, so let me ask you a question on your end as a payment processee. So you're the middleman between the consumer and the corporation, correct? You're handling the channel processing wise. So
exactly, and there's a lot of middlemen. It's not just me. There's so many people with their hands in on the payment. It's sickening.
Yeah. Now, so on your side, when they do the chargebacks, do you lose your fee, or you keep your fee, but they just return the original funds back to the original owner on the chargeback side?
So so on our end, it doesn't affect us as far as our pockets go, being a merchant processor, but obviously we have angry customers when this happens, because they ultimately end up blaming us. So the money's just taken from their bank account. Like, so you could do a sale now, and in February, you wake up one morning and you're like, gee, why did thousands of dollars come out of my bank account? And then you call into us as your processor, and we're like, oh, gee, you had a chargeback from September. And you're like, September? This is another year.
Yeah.
So it's just, like I tell people, it's an honor system, the credit card system. The fact that you can call in and dispute these charges, criminals take advantage of this.
Yeah. Now, so is there any way that you can perhaps, fight this, argue this, or, because it sounds like everything is in favor of the people or the institutions that's able to, call back that money or whatnot. So are people able to fight it or not, or it's too big for them?
So the businesses can fight it. However, they go without their money for about a 1 month time frame, which is very, that's not like a smooth thing to have happen. 'Cause now you're without your working capital, but they don't always win. So if it stemmed from a fraudulent payment, they lose every time as the merchant. And then ultimately it kind of comes down to the wealth of the cardholder. If somebody had an Amex Black card or one of these real high-end credit cards that they used, they're going to win that chargeback. I've actually seen the companies stack the favor for these really wealthy cardholders and create such confusion that they beat the business on a technicality.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of sick, man, what's going on. It's not a rosy picture by any means.
Okay, so on the card processing side, as of the beginning of this year, when the crypto had this little boom, a lot of the major, well, I think it was Bank of America, that I know of because it happened to me, but there's a lot of the too big to fail banks decided to not allow their customers to use their cards to acquire cryptos as they were going up or whatnot. And so so tell me about that whole situation during that time frame. Was that something that you were shocked by, or was that to be expected, or was there any outlash or feedback from people not being able to use their cards to acquire crypto, but you can charge anything else you want?
Right. So it's definitely inconvenient. They did it because people were using credit from the cards, I guess, was their reasoning behind it. In the meantime, what they did, though, what they didn't tell a lot of people was if you did use credit, they would charge you with like that cash advance fee behind the scenes and then shut it down after. So they hit you with that big 28% fee behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I saw it as the government's way to slow this thing down. I mean, I saw it with my own eyes. I was doing a lot of helping people get into exchanges to buy cryptos, and like Coinbase froze up their identity verification. The whole thing with you couldn't buy them with debit cards. I mean, tons of exchanges just closed up. They said, no, we're not taking any more applicants now. So I just saw it as a way to kind of – the government said, hey, this thing's getting too big, too quick. Let's put the brakes on. Let's suppress it. Let's manipulate this thing down as far as we can push it. Let's let the people that are part of the club get in.
Yeah. And
they're getting ready for that now with these ETFs that are going to be coming out. The big boys are getting their exchanges ready and their custodial solution. So, like, I'm walking around. I have, like, a Ledger Nano S on my keychain, right? I'm holding all my private keys, but these guys that are part of the club, these real rich guys, they're going to want like somebody to, custody the assets for them. So they're just kind of getting all that ready. So I feel like until that stuff comes out, they'll definitely keep the prices suppressed.
Yeah. Now, so you have the Litecoin shirt on, and so you said as about a year ago, you've decided to get into the Litecoin payment processing side of things. So how's that been going thus far? Has it been well received? I know there's a pretty large Litecoin community, but what's the process of making that more usable as far as processing payments or whatnot? What's the process for that?
So we try to go after like the low-hanging fruit. Like we don't really try to target like pizzerias and like restaurants too much because, again, for those types of businesses, generally credit cards work all right. They're not getting tons of fraud, and we target more e-commerce businesses. So that's people that sell items online. This is really good for online payments.
Yeah. People
that sell items of value, maybe businesses that are near colleges that have like a younger crowd. Like I'm working on it's actually an existing customer at Nationwide's. They offer study help for college kids, and they were all about processing Bitcoin and Litecoin because I was like, hey, look, I think I read a study, 21% of college students own cryptocurrency. So I was like, look, you're a business that'll actually get in a good amount of crypto payments. So it's starting to take off. A lot of people don't know what it is still. Like, you'd be surprised. 1 out of 3 people, when we walk into their business, we're like, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? And they're like, no, never heard of it. And we're like, what? Like, have you been living under a rock? So those are actually cool opportunities because we kind of present it to them like it's a new payment form. It works similar to Venmo. It's money that's on another platform. We show them the QR code, and then we show them like an app, like Abra is a popular one. We say, look, money comes into this app, and you hit transfer to bank. So they're very liquid assets. So it's very easy to convert in and out of US dollar.
Yeah. Now, at the current rate, a lot of people, or not a lot, but a few of the people you're actually going to introduce them to this whole sector here, they're not aware of it. But then I'm assuming, is it a age demographic type of thing where more of the older business owners aren't aware of it, and it's the younger population from what you've seen that's more excited about the Litecoin especially?
You definitely want to target younger people with this. Like, you don't want to go into like generally older people aren't going to be as into this, and I get it. I mean, it's actually like an ideological thing. Older people grew up in this country with banks that paid interest. The bank was always their friend. They were making 15% interest in the 80s. Like, they saw the good times. So I feel like younger people, millennials, banks don't pay interest. There's like literally no incentive to keep your money in the bank. They're used to Venmo. They're used to paying with their phones. So they're definitely the ones that are going to push this thing forward. Yeah.
Now, so why Litecoin? Out of all the thousands of coins out there, tokens, all that stuff, why Litecoin? Why are you behind Litecoin so hard?
Sure. So I'm not a real technical guy, right? So I'm just really big on like I'm like a realist, right? It has to like make sense and work in the real world. Yeah. Litecoin is easy to use. Like last year when like I was getting into this for payments, Coinbase was the main way anybody was buying in. So basically Coinbase had 3 coins available. It was Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum at the time. Bitcoin was kind of slow and was more expensive to send payments. Ethereum could be cheap, but then it could be expensive depending on how clogged up their network was. Litecoin was consistently fast and cheap to send. So really, for payments to be adopted, you can't tell people, hey, go over to Binance, get the coins, and you got to get Litecoin first. No. Just you got to tell them, look, go into Coinbase. You can link up your bank account easily. You can buy Litecoin, and then it's easy to make payments with. So most people won't get past like a Coinbase or like an app, or unless they're like, hey, if they're like us and they're really into this stuff, then sure, they can figure out how to pay with these other coins. But not for most of the general public. They need easy stuff to use.
Right. Okay. So someone I just noticed in the chat posed a question. It says, John, why or why not has the U.S. government not challenged the credit card transaction movement? It says credit card is getting a lot more market share and branding. Assuming that's CC, I'm assuming that's credit card.
Sure. The government loves the credit card business, actually, because banks control the credit card business. It's not Visa, MasterCard really in charge. They're just the payment network. When a credit card's processed, 2 banks talk to each other. So the government loves it. I mean, they're in bed with the banks and everything. So they don't want to stomp this thing out. And they're, the credit card system's set up. It's very pro-consumer. They even advertise zero fraud liability. You can basically buy anything, and if there's any problem, you're getting your money back. So it's very like anti-business how it's set up. So it's just, again, it's not something the government's ever going to challenge. They like it because it's, again, they can track it easier. So a lot of stuff that, they have control of it. It's not, they can freeze they can freeze your bank account whenever they want. And we see it when people have tax liens. They start taking the credit card money from them, and then they call into us. They're mad, and we're like, the IRS put a lien on the merchant account and tapped right into your bank account.
Wow, that's deep. Now, one thing came to mind when you mentioned about having money in the bank and not getting anything on it is the idea and the whole credit card aspect of how they present it as a most ideal solution to use. And what's really been getting me that a lot of people don't pay much attention to is the whole cash back. And so you have all those Hollywood actors on commercials, what's in your wallet? Get 1.5% back. And I'm like, you have to spend in order to get cash back. But what happened to actually being able to park your money and it actually earn interest? Those days are gone and probably will never come back. But people don't seem to mind. And I'm sure a lot of people out there love swiping their card thinking they saving money by getting cash back. Yeah.
And And the reason is those points lead to higher merchant processing fees for the business. So if the business accepts a card that has a big rewards program tied to it, they're paying a much higher fee than if you paid with like your debit or like check card. So they're actually, the business is paying for those airline miles and rewards points. So it's not like behind the scenes Visa is one rate. It's all based on what they call the interchange. If you look up Visa interchange, there's hundreds and hundreds of different rates. And that's just one piece of the pie. Then that's just the money that goes back to the banks. Visa has to get paid. They get paid licensing fees from their logo on the card. We got to get paid. There's processing fees. The software gets paid. There's compliance fees. There's government fee. I mean, it's just like, it's endless. It's never ending, like layered fees behind the scenes.
Okay, so where are all those fees located at? And so if I swipe my card for something for $40, the fees you're referring to, are those included in that yearly $99 of, you know, whatever the fee is, or where do the fees come from?
Sure. So this is the business paying the fees. Like we looked at somebody's statement today. They paid over $100,000 for the year in credit card processing fees.
Whoa.
So generally, the fees for merchants to process credit card payments are between 2 and 4% of the overall sales. But then they have fraud risk on top of that. So depending on if it's a risky business, you got to factor in another 1 to 5% fraud cost in there as well, because the money can get taken from them at any time.
Wow. So a question I want to pose to you is the idea that in order to, most people usually use credit cards to actually acquire, or they use their debit cards if they can, but more than likely, I know especially on Coinbase, if you want to do it instantly, you have to link it directly towards your debit card, and it's an instant transaction. But if you want to use your bank account, it takes 4 or 5 business days to process. And so why is Visa and MasterCard tolerant of that particular method, but not of them using, being able to transact or swipe directly somewhere and using that same payment method to acquire cryptocurrencies?
Why is it faster, you mean? That they'll give the people access to the crypto faster?
That, yes. And then why is Visa and MasterCard okay with their logo still being on those cards going through like Coinbase or probably Gemini or wherever you link your card to?
Because if it's a debit card, the person has the money available. So I guess behind their thinking is they're not extending credit to the person to buy cryptos.
Okay.
The reason it's available right away is because when you process a Visa or MasterCard, it's instantly authorizing the sale. They could still get fraud after the fact, but at least it gives them an authorization and saying, hey, the money was available. When you go to send money from your checking account, they don't know till like a day or two later if they were able to pull that money out because they have their ACHing it from your account. It's not an instant pull. Right. So that's kind of the reason why. But one thing for your viewers to know, I would definitely always buy from Coinbase with a checking account link. Don't buy with a debit card because the fees are a lot lower if you buy from your checking account. They charge you 1.5% instead of 4%. But also, too, they lock in your purchase price when you click buy. So your price is locked in. You just don't get access to the coins for like 4 or 5 days. So it's not like there's any benefit as far as price-wise if you use the debit card. It's just if you need to use the cryptos. Like if you want to get on one of these gambling sites and gamble, well, you need to buy in with your debit card because you might want to send the money right over there. But if you're an investor, you can wait a few days to get the stuff in. Yeah.
Now, someone asked a question about what's your thoughts on XRP since it's been labeled the banker's coin or whatnot. Is that something that, can you see XRP being utilized as a payment method or something like that for the public one day outside of the banking sector?
XRP, I absolutely hate it. I'll tell you why. It's not decentralized. Like Bitcoin and Litecoin are truly the only decentralized cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is now, but Bitcoin and Litecoin are the only ones that for the whole time have been decentralized. XRP does not have good people behind it. There's this guy, the guy that created the Bit license in New York is on the board of directors at XRP. This is almost like deep state type of stuff, man. Like this guy, what the Bit license in New York is, they totally made it so it's harder to do anything with cryptocurrency in New York. This guy put that law in place and then said, hey, now the law's in place. Now he's going to go work on the other side because he's one of the few people that knows how to get around it. So XRP to me is like very evil. It's very bad. It's the bankers' play, and we got to stand up against it and get behind the good stuff. But, Litecoin and Bitcoin are for the people. Yeah. So we got to push it forward as the community.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts on the privacy coins? Do you think those was something that people might want to use? Because one of the issues that I have, and a lot of people, other people have, is the idea that Litecoin and Bitcoin, being the oldest, most stable, most dependable, they don't have any type of privacy or anonymity type of features to them, which means that you can track, follow, chase, all those things there. And so I'm sure there's stuff being worked on to implement into it to make it more privacy based. But do you see the use and need for privacy coins, perhaps for transactions as well?
Sure, I like the idea of privacy coins. The governments don't like them at all. So the whole idea is like right now, I think Litecoin and Bitcoin are needed to like work with the main system so people can kind of get money out of the old system and into this new system. So as of right now, I don't think you're going to see it on Litecoin or Bitcoin, but down the line, yes, I think it's actually in the works to enable confidential transactions on Litecoin. I just think they want more penetration into the regular financial markets before they kind of let that cat out of the bag.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, let's get a little bit to the Litecoin Summit that happened last week. You was a guest speaker there, so you gave a presentation. Share with us a little bit about some things you covered in your speech, as well as the overall theme and tone of the Litecoin conference.
So I'll start with the tone of the conference first. It was absolutely amazing. I mean, this is Litecoin is such a great community. It was just put on by all volunteers. I mean, the people in this thing are really strong. I mean, it's just such positive vibes. There was no problems. Everybody said it was a great conference. There's just so much going on with Litecoin behind the scenes. Right now, there's the LTC East Coast team and the LTC West Coast team, and we're on Twitter communicating. We have different projects that we're working on, and this is just community-driven stuff. Nobody's paying us to do this. We're just doing it because we believe in it, that it's the right thing to do. So Litecoin, I mean, it's really this is the good guys behind it. I mean, Charlie Lee's a good guy. The people behind it are good people. It's not an ICO. There's no way that we're no one's trying to raise money by doing anything. It's just, again, this is just a coin that is for the people. So awesome vibes there. I just spoke about kind of what I'm talking to you guys about now. I talked about a lot of the problems that exist in the existing payment system, try to open people's eyes up to it. And then I kind of talked to them about, why Litecoin, what problems does Litecoin solve? Who are we recommending it to? And, I just kind of went into different things like that.
Yeah, fair enough there. Now, let me, I want to make sure that everyone is tuning in. I'm speaking with John Moore. He's an RTD viewer, and he's also in the credit card processing, and he's a Litecoin enthusiast. And so if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the chat, or I had a missed call, so feel free to call back in and get your questions answered directly. And so, John, I want to get your thoughts on the tweet or the post that came out yesterday from Coinbase in regards to them looking to clarify how they're going to be adding new tokens and coins to their platform. So what are your thoughts on that? And do you think that will be a more easier way for mainstream adoption? Because I'm assuming the biggest thing is just allowing all the back end stuff to be dealt with so that mainstream adoption can come in, and then assuming we'll see another price hike or price spike eventually by the end of this year, perhaps?
Yeah, I like what Coinbase is doing. I mean, they're a real like leader in the space, and their products work really well. They make it easy for people to get in and out. They have different types of products. They have like Coinbase Pro if you're more of a trader. You can get your fees way down. Regular Coinbase for most people that are just transacting with one another. Most retail investors don't want to get in. So I like what they did with that. It kind of clarifies how to list different coins and kind of takes a lot of the mystery out of it, I guess, if that makes sense. So I always like what Coinbase is generally doing. They get a lot of heat, Coinbase, and sometimes the crypto community comes down on them hard, but Coinbase is a friend. I mean, they shouldn't be looked at as the enemy. It's our way to get money out of the old system into the new system in an easy manner, and it's easy for people to use. So it's again, I'm all for what Coinbase is doing.
All right, fair enough. So it says someone mentioned, says, please let John know his partner Greg is watching the interview.
Greg is the one that got me into Litecoin. He is the one that came into this office. Greg is old school in the credit card processing business. His customers love him. You can't take one of his accounts from him, but he got really into the whole crypto space about probably 2 years ago. He's a big gold and silver guy, and he was in my ear about it, and he kept talking to me about it every time he saw me. And he was talking to me a lot about Litecoin because he's a payments guy.
Yeah.
And he came into this office, and he caught me on the right day. One of my good friends lost $5,000 to a credit card transaction, and he showed me a $1,000 Litecoin transaction go from New York to Cali, and we looked it up on the blockchain on like a Block Explorer, and I just was blown away. I stood up, I walked around the office. I said, "We're out of business, everybody. We're out of business." And I said, and they said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, not just now." I said, "But in time." I said, "This thing is definitely going to take us out."
All right. So one thing, we have a caller, and so
Awesome.
All right. So let's see what's going on here. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello, caller. They're there. So they got to cut their computer down.
My name's Pat Sherrill, calling from Alabama.
Hello, Pat from Alabama. How you doing, my friend?
My name's Pat Sherrill, calling from Alabama.
Yep, I got you, Pat. How you doing, buddy? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yep. You there? Hello, Pat.
Pat.
Hello, Pat. You still there? Maybe not. So, but no, Pat is from Alabama. He's an old timer. He's a gold guy. So I'm assuming he's gonna ask a question about cryptocurrency. So I mean about precious metals. So Pat, call back if you like. But there's another question here about just getting your opinion and your thoughts based upon what you're hearing, what you're seeing behind the scenes on the processing side. What are some of your thoughts on the fourth quarter nominal price of BTC, LTC? As we draw towards the end of this year, do you think we're going to see that same type of spike as last year around that November to December timeframe?
I think we are, because they're getting everything ready for the club to get in, the rich people. They're getting different exchanges ready that are more Wall Street friendly.
Yeah.
The Bitcoin ETF will probably be approved. So I feel like all those factors at play, even that thing that's coming out called like Backed, like if you've heard of that, that's like Microsoft and Starbucks. So all these things are going to allow money to kind of pour back into the space. So I do think we're going to see another nice move up. I don't know if it'll be more or less than last year. My prediction is that we're going to see like 3 more of these spikes up and big drop-offs before it kind of levels out.
So 3 more spikes up, like reaching that 19,000, 20,000 for Bitcoin, 300 something for Litecoin, or just like these little small ones that we're
No. I think we're going to see 3 more major moves up. Like we might go to $30,000 Bitcoin on one of them, and then drop back down to 10,000
Yeah.
We might go to a $60,000 Bitcoin on the next spike up and then drop back down to 15, 20,000. And then I say, well, once we get up to that $100,000 Bitcoin mark, prices will kind of stabilize, and you'll see a lot less volatility when it's just like a pool of water. If we're in a swimming pool and I jump in the other end, you're gonna feel the wave. If we're in a big lake and I jump in the other end, you're not gonna feel the ripple effect from the water. So
yeah, fair enough. So we have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike. My name's Archie.
Archie, how you doing, my friend?
I'm calling from Colorado.
Archie from Colorado. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I had a question for John. I'm intrigued with this cryptocurrency thing, and just so you know, I'm 57 years young, and I'm not one of the shy ones. I like expanding my portfolio, and so this cryptocurrency's got me intrigued as far as, if we do have a reset or any economy. And I was just curious to know, I had two questions for him. The first one being, if I buy into this cryptocurrency, meaning either Litecoin, Bitcoin, whichever one, when you get these, I guess what they're telling me, they're called nano wallets or whatever, some way so you can store your actual coins. Are you allowed to have more than one wallet per account, or do you have to have separate accounts for each nano wallet?
Sure. So I have multiple Ledger Nano S's, so you can have unlimited wallets. The cool thing is when you set up these crypto wallets, it doesn't ask your identity. It gives you what they call seed words. So it gives you usually 12 seed words. A Ledger Nano S actually gives you 24 seed words. And that's your link to get your money back if your device is damaged or lost. So you can set up thousands of Ledger Nano S's. So it's unlimited. It's recommended, don't keep all your funds in one wallet address. I like to keep them spread out. I have probably about, I'd say 25 wallets that I kind of keep stuff in, just for different uses. A lot of mobile wallets. So yeah, you can have as many as you want.
Good question.
Well, yeah, that was my main concern. It's like, if I had, if I go to Las Vegas, and I want to get crazy for a night, and I put, and I have one of my nanos, I don't want to take my whole bank with me. I just want to take my allocation for that night, and once that's done, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Scenarios like that anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. And in that case, you would actually you would set up a mobile wallet on your smartphone, and then you would move the coins from your Ledger to your smartphone. And think of that as like, if you're going to go to the casino, you're going to take money out of your bank to bring cash with you. Same idea as this. You're going to take money out of your crypto bank, which is the Ledger, move it into your mobile wallet. Like we like Loaf Wallet's a good one to use for Litecoin. Bread Wallet's good for Bitcoin. Coinomi is a popular one. So move it into one of those, and then it's very easy to make payments because crypto payments are all done through scanning QR codes at the retail level. So it's actually very easy to do if you're using the right types of wallets to make the payments.
Right. Good
Right.
question. Good question.
Cool. That sounds great. Okay. I just have one more, Mike, if you don't mind.
No problem.
How long? What in your opinion, John, do you think will happen? Let's say we do go into some kind of a monetary crash or restructure or whatever you guys all want to call it. How safe will our money be?
In the banks or just your currency in general?
In crypto.
In crypto.
If I have my money in cryptocurrency, how safe will it be?
So it's a very good question, and this is very, very good question. Your money will be very safe if you have control of your private keys. This is extremely important. So you do not want to have the cryptocurrency on an exchange. You do not want to keep it on Coinbase, on Gemini, on Binance. Just like banks do fractional reserve banking, there's kind of a theory that they do fractional reserve crypto, where they can almost sell you more coins on an exchange than is actually out there. So you want to have control of the coins in your possession. That means have it in a Ledger Nano S, have it in one of these mobile wallets that I'm talking about, have it in an Exodus desktop wallet. Any wallet that's considered non-custodial, which means you get the 12 seed words or the 24 seed words, and then you'll be very safe, because this is going to be, Litecoin especially, will be the means of exchange when these banks go down.
That answer your question?
As long as I have them I just one comment about it, Mike, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
So if I have them set up in my Nano wallets, then they're safe.
You're 100% safe, because nobody knows that you actually have them. They just know that they're tied to a wallet address. They don't know who has them, and more importantly, you're in possession of them. You're not relying on a third party to hold control. So same idea as gold and silver. You want to hold the physical gold and silver. You don't want to be holding paper contracts. Right. So same idea with the crypto space.
That's my point being, the old saying with silver and gold is, if you don't hold it, you don't own it.
Yeah, buddy.
100%. Same thing with cryptos, man. They're very close in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Very good point.
All right, well, thanks, Mike, and thanks, John. You've answered everything that I had for tonight.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for calling in. Good luck with everything.
Yeah, you betcha, man, and great show, dude.
Thanks, appreciate you.
Be safe now. Bye.
So, great caller as always. And so also, John, Crypto Capital Venture told me to tell you hello. Thanks for repping Litecoin. and also, Crypto Capital Venture, I believe I saw your interview. I think you interviewed Charlie Lee at the Litecoin Summit. So good job there, my friend. I believe that was you. So keep up the good work over there, what you're doing on your YouTube channel, buddy. So we have another caller, and we'll get another caller too, and then we'll look to wind down. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, John and Mike. This is Dave calling from Texas, Houston, Texas.
Dave from Texas. How you doing this evening? What's on your mind?
Doing all right. I was kind of curious what John thought about Monero.
Monero. John, what's your thoughts on Monero?
I like it.
That's supposed to be private in a way, right? Where it creates new coins and stuff, and it's supposed to be private, right?
Yep. I like it a lot, actually. I don't think it'll be adopted really readily in the U.S. because of the privacy issues, but I do like it. It's, as far as a privacy coin, it's at the top. I mean, there's no better privacy coin in my mind than Monero. That is the gold standard in privacy coins. So as far as an investment goes, I'm not a financial advisor, but I would say it's probably a sound long-term investment that it will, that it'll be a success.
How about Dash? Are you familiar with, is Dash the same type of protocol or a little bit different or what? Because Dash is, pretty popular, has a small market or overall supply of coins as of now. What are your thoughts on that one?
Dash, I used to like Dash a real lot as an investment, and I made money kind of like trading it and stuff. It's another payments coins. They're focused on payments as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's not as decentralized as Litecoin and all that. They use kind of what they call like a masternode model behind the scenes. So I don't really like it as much as Monero. I'm kind of on the fence with, about Dash, I guess. I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I don't want to say I hate it, but I don't want to say that I really like it either. Me personally, I took the Dash I had and I swapped it back into Litecoin.
Interesting. Any other questions?
No, thanks for taking the time.
I appreciate you calling, my friend. Thank you.
See you guys. Bye.
So, good caller, good question. Thanks for that. And so, another question I have for you is, on this next market pump, when it hits, all-time highs, as you say, you see more highs coming. Will it be the same case where Bitcoin leads the way and everything else follows, or perhaps could there be something else that leads the way and Bitcoin tags along or follows as well? Like a lot of people say Ethereum, because there's I forgot what the name of the organization behind Ethereum alliance, but it's like Microsoft, Google. It's like 6 or 7 major corporations that is on a board for Ethereum, which lets me know they have plans for it. So can you see, utility tokens such as Ethereum leading the way, perhaps? Because Bitcoin is a gold of cryptocurrency type of thing, or what?
I think just like last year, Bitcoin's going to lead the way, and we're already seeing that to some extent, even though the market's not pumped up. You look at the Bitcoin dominance, which that means what's the percentage of market cap in Bitcoin versus the whole crypto space.
Right.
The Bitcoin dominance is pretty high. It's over 50% right now. So I feel like, yeah, everything does. Bitcoin's kind of like the sun in the crypto ecosystem for now. I feel, down the line, let's see what they come out with. And like you said, Ethereum might like break off. And then, I feel like in the future, the coins that are more like the utility tokens and more like the software platforms and stuff will follow Ethereum. That's kind of the sun for them. And then, other coins will follow Bitcoin. And then, we'll probably see a lot of securities tokens pop up. So maybe whatever the securities token, the main one of those is, that'll kind of, other coins will follow that. So not just yet. I think keep all eyes on BTC for now would be my advice.
All right, fair enough. And so someone asked, T. Hambone says, what do you think about the Brave browser and its token? Do you think any of these have a future?
I actually really like the Brave browser. I use it. It's a really good browser. It actually has you can utilize Tor now right through the Brave browser. You can do private browsing with Tor, which is really cool. The token that it has built in is called BAT, Basic Attention Token. Again, I'm on the fence about it. I've owned it in the past. It's just, it was an ICO, so there's a lot of speculation on what could happen to coins that were ICOs in 2017. So it's one that if you own it, I would wait for it to pump, and I would get back into Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum. Yeah, that would just be my advice. But I do like the Brave browser a lot. I got to say, it's definitely a cool product.
All right, so this is so Rod D from the LTC East Coast team said shout out to Johnny Litecoin. He said, how you doing, my friend? Thanks for the love on the donation as well. I appreciate you. So my question for you, Johnny, is out of all the tokens and things going on, what are some probably some diamonds in the rough, some hidden gems that you might have looked into or heard about, or might have heard some people whispering about out at the Litecoin Summit that might caught your eye, whether it be project wise or future exchange coin or token or whatever? Anything got you excited?
I'm a really boring guy for cryptos. I'm really only I'm a Litecoin and Bitcoin maximalist almost. Except I do tell people to own some Ethereum just because, I'm not a software developer. There's tons of developers working on it. So I feel like Ethereum will be a success too. But I'm not big into other tokens and projects anymore because in my mind, it's too, unless it's an industry that you're in and you see, hey, this is really a need. Yeah. It's too hard to pick them out. So it's like, these other coins aren't going to make it unless Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum make it first. Yeah. So think of Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum as the railroad. Yeah. I'd rather own that, and then let's see what trains can pass through that railroad after it's fully built out. You got to keep in mind, Bitcoin and Litecoin, they're not fully built out yet. They're right now, Lightning Network is under development. They're working on all the user interface for it to make it better. So whole idea is that in the future, you're not going to know you're using cryptocurrency. You're just going to use it just like you use your Visa card right now. So it's I'm not comfortable recommending any tokens at all to anybody. I'm a big Litecoin, Bitcoin guy. Here's what I would say though, as far as that goes. Watch the ratio of Litecoin to Bitcoin, because right now, Bitcoin's over like 100-to-1 ratio versus Litecoin. So that's definitely like out of whack. Like as it goes too high over that, I would say, hey, buy more aggressively into Litecoin as it moves back. I say it moved back. It was down at 50-to-1 like in the winter. And I was like, hey, look, it moved a lot the other way. Maybe start buying more into Bitcoin now. So that's kind of my only advice. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm not a real the other guys have great channels for there's other great trading stuff and all that. I'm just I'm a payments dude.
Hey, but that's good enough, because that's the good thing about this whole stream now is this. The subtitle is a voice for the people. So you have a voice, you have experience. So I'm trying to magnify so people can just hear your opinion and your thoughts and use it for their own goods and whatnot. So I have a question here in the chat from Tony. It says, what are your thoughts on peer-to-peer transaction being deregulated, but Fed coin being government regulated? So go ahead.
So I feel like it's gonna in the future. I feel like unfortunately most people won't be walking around with like a Ledger Nano S. They'll will kind of be using this Fed coin. So it's up to people to make the decision now. Do they submit to the government and the banks? And once that Fed coin comes out, your money goes into that. Say bye-bye to any type of privacy or any type of sovereignty or anything. They got you for life.
Yeah.
So, if you have the money in Litecoin and Bitcoin and the good decentralized stuff, they can't regulate the Bitcoin and Litecoin network. They could do whatever they want to try to stop you from getting money into it. But once you have money in on that platform, and on Litecoin and Bitcoin's platform, I say there's no stopping it. So it's really up to us. I feel like it's a social responsibility too for guys like us to kind of educate the public and say, hey, look, here's what's coming down. You don't want to really fall into this trap, because unfortunately, once the government comes out and says, they may even come out and say, hey, here's the government approved Bitcoin wallet, right? We want to see everything go in through this.
Yeah.
And that's going to be totally controlled by them. But then the American public will say, hey, look, now we can get into Bitcoin because they told us that it's safe.
Yeah.
So it's scary.
Yeah.
It is scary.
And someone mentioned here, can they regulate it through exchanges? And so my thoughts would be they are already regulated through exchanges. Just the idea that I believe is the SEC or Department of Justice sent out letters to 6 or 7 different exchanges requiring them to share certain types of information, of which 2 or 3 of the exchanges said no thank you, and they might have faced some type of problems or whatnot. But the whole KYC aspect is going to be a primary concern for the banking sector as well as the government. But then we have the idea of decentralized exchanges and all the swaps and whatnot, and the atomic swaps, the cross-chain swaps of different currencies. So as that stuff rolls out, that's going to be really exciting, because I'm looking for the day where you don't have to go through a government, or not a government, but an actual KYC exchange to actually exchange your fiat for crypto. I just, I would prefer not to do that if I could.
I'm 100% with you. So the whole thing is that if you're taking like payment and using it the right way, you could avoid all the KYC stuff. But unfortunately, to get your money in, you kind of have to go through that initial KYC.
Yeah.
But that's not just in the crypto space. Like in this credit card business, it's more of a nightmare even than it is for like anything to do with cryptos. I mean, they've made the AML compliance and the KYC so like strict and stringent that it's actually sad, because all it does is affect the good people, and like the guy that might not be so organized, the guy at the deli that doesn't have every document because he's making sandwiches, he's running his business. So it doesn't really help things much. The criminals still get away. They tweak what they do slightly and get right around all this stuff. And it just slows down the good people from being able to have freedom and do what they want. That's how I see it, at least.
Yeah, okay, good. So I have another question. This right here in the chat, and I think it's a very good question. And it's, of course, this is your opinion. And so, no one here is a certified legal tax advisor, but someone that says, hey, Mike, what is his thoughts on taxes with cryptos? And also, speaking of which, I think October 17th or something of that nature, I heard that the IRS is going to come out with an official stance on the crypto side of things, how they're going to tax it or whatever. So what are your thoughts on that? Is it a commodity or is it money, or what does that go? Capital gains tax, income tax, or what?
Here's what I would say. When you take it for payment, if you take in $500 right now, you're responsible to put on your income tax that you took in $500, right? If it goes up or down and you're holding it, well, that's up to you, right? So you're still at the tax burden from that $500. Now, can it be tracked for tax purposes? It's unless you kind of self-report it, it's kind of like cash where they don't know. They can see kind of where the payments are going, but they don't know, hey, this payment went to this business. So it's almost like, everybody always wanted to get cash. I think of like the pizzeria that wants to get tons of cash. They don't want the credit card, right? Because they want. So this stuff is kind of the same way, that it's kind of self-reporting on your taxes is what I'll say. And they don't really know. It's very hard for them to tell what anybody's doing, because even when payments are made, it just goes from one wallet address to another. So just kind of everybody get creative with that.
Yeah,
would be my advice.
Good point. Now watch this. As we approaching the hour point, want to get ready to wind things down. So unless someone calls in or whatnot, I want to get your thoughts on precious metals, because the whole RTD Rethinking the Dollar is providing awareness of alternatives outside of fiat currencies that all around us are having problems. And so I tell people on this show, make sure you get your weight up as far as having something physical in your hands. So most of this conversation is being geared towards digital things such as cryptocurrencies, but they have a lot of promise as far as being able to make some short-term gains at least. Then what you do with that is up to you, but whatever. So gold and silver. What are your thoughts on gold and silver? And I saw another question here. What do you think about the idea of people trying to tokenize gold and silver and use them in trade amongst themselves, given the fact that, cryptocurrencies and gold, there's people that want to link those together?
Right. I like gold and silver. I like them a lot. They're not good to use for payments in the digital age. You can't send silver through the internet. Like if I wanted to give you silver right now, I can't do it, but I can go to your website and pull up donate and send Litecoin to you in a second. I do like them. My plan as the market runs up is to not sell. I'll never sell into US dollar. I think the banks are going to go down and there's going to be a reset. So you'll never ever see me sell ever Bitcoin and take profit in USD. Yeah. But I will take profit in gold and silver. As it spikes up, I'll go to some of these online sites and I'll pay with Litecoin, pay with Bitcoin, and I'll buy gold and silver. So I like it. I generally pick up more silver than gold. It's cheaper. It's easier to get my hands on. I like 1 ounce pieces are pretty cool. I bought some 5 ounce bars. So I don't have tons of gold and silver. I'm starting to dabble in it. The crypto space drove me into gold and silver. So I kind of speculate that you're going to see a lot more people getting back into gold and silver because they're so closely correlated with cryptos. And as more people get into cryptos, they're going to be about tokenizing gold and silver as far as cryptos go. Yeah. I would have to see how it's done because they would have, if they did it right, I guess. What's
your mind tonight?
I'm doing better than I was yesterday, but not as good as I'll be tomorrow.
That's good. That's a good approach there. Go ahead.
But I'm a little late to the party, so I don't know what all you've discussed. But the one main question that I'm having that I'm trying to find out for myself to be a little bit more, have a little bit more privacy in what I'm doing is when will the decentralized, now this is obviously going to be your opinion, but when will the decentralized exchanges actually work and allow us to onboard our fiat so that we can start, cashing out of the fiat and getting into our cryptos or if we're into that. But when will that
and I'll listen to this on the show, but I just wanted to have some opinion about what you feel about that.
Okay, sounds good. John, did you hear what he said?
I heard parts of it. It was a little bit muffled.
Okay, so he said, when do you think the decentralized exchanges will be fully up and running so that people might be able to get into it, get in and get out, and back into fiat currency if need be?
I don't think you'll see those because of the whole again, the government has control of the banks, and they're in bed together. They want this KYC and AML. So I don't know if you'll see that as far as getting back in and out of fiat goes. I think you'll always have to go through some type of KYC or AML. The only ways right now to get cryptos without having to go through that is if you're doing mining, and then obviously you're earning coins. But then also, if you accept it for payment for services that you offer, it's just going to your wallet address. So that's kind of a way to avoid the KYC AML. So, if you want to start accepting cryptos for products and services that you sell, and then keep them, don't convert to USD. That's a good way to get in without having to go through all these rigorous demands.
Right. Good point. Caller, would that answer your question?
That was a good answer. Not that I like it, but good answer. I guess have to go through the KYC and all that stuff because that's what the government requires.
Yeah, and then also someone just made a good point in the chat in referencing if you want to get into cryptos and out, they do have ATMs at gas stations some places, but there's a heavy premium on top of it. But it's an easier way to put like a $20 bill into an ATM machine, and then you can hold your QR code up to the screen, and it'll send you whatever you want coin-wise. The exchange rate is not fair, but it lets you get in. So that's another way where you can also, I think, scan your thing and get cash out as well, with of course, losing a couple dollars. But that's just a way to get in, get out if you want. But, of course, you got to put your telephone number, email address, and so just stuff to be aware. Those are some options if you're interested.
Exactly.
All right. That's good stuff.
All right, my friend. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you.
Thanks for your show. Appreciate you.
Have a good night. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, John, so we've been on an hour, give or take an hour plus, so definitely we probably can go for another hour, give or take, with all the feedback and the interaction we have from the audience. But we probably have to save it for another day and any updates on the processing side. But it's been great having you join us tonight. And so for those that are just joining us, I got John Moore out from New Jersey. He's a Litecoin enthusiast as well as a credit card payment processing specialist. And so I wanted to have him on to share his thoughts on the whole behind-the-scenes aspect of people using cards and the payment processing side as we get into more of a more distributed, adaptive type of mindset where more people start coming into the sector. So, and also he did a great speech at the Litecoin Summit. So I want to encourage you guys to go to Litecoin Foundation YouTube and check out his presentation there, as well as other YouTubers that did a great job interviewing people. So, John, any last thoughts? How can people find out more about your payment processes? If we have a small entrepreneurs that want to get linked up with you to find out more, how can they find you and come learn from you?
If you follow me on Twitter at Johnny Litecoin, JONNY Litecoin, I'm tweeting stuff every day just about what I'm doing. It's all Litecoin adoption stuff. So different businesses I'm signing up, different stuff that I'm seeing. So, I would just say just follow me there. You can go to my website, nationwidemerchantsolutions.com. I also set up LitecoinTechSupport.com. So you can see me on there, and you can fill out the contact form and connect with me. And I'm happy to help anybody. I want to really show people how to get into this stuff, show them how to use it. And it's not something to fear. This is a tool that was developed for the public good. So definitely get out there and use it for payments. Like, I definitely challenge everybody, don't just own the stuff. Even send money from one wallet you have to another. Buy something small on the internet and get it shipped to you. It's really, once you send money with it, you see the power of it. So that's kind of my final words. Just try to get out there and use it. And if anybody has questions, find me on Twitter at Johnny Litecoin, or go to one of my websites, and I'm happy to, happy to help. And I'll actually get on the phone with you guys and help. I'm not just a guy behind a screen. I'll get on the phone. I'll get on FaceTime. I'll really help the business out or the individual out in making this happen.
Yeah, sounds good. So I just noticed in the comment section, someone said there's only about 16 likes. So if you're still online, you enjoyed the conversation, give us a thumbs up. Or if you did enjoy it, give us a thumbs down. Either way, but just show us some love in one way or the other. So other than that, it's been great. I love having guests join us. And so as always, you guys follow me on the Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatnot. Click subscribe. And if you found us informative, share this video so more people can find out about it. And also, if you want to be a blessing, become a Patreon subscriber. Got my Bitcoin address up there. If you want to show your boys some love, I would appreciate it. Other than that, everybody have a good evening. John, as always, has been good, my friend. Looking forward to following what you do, and we'll definitely have you back on in the days ahead. See about those price predictions and those hikes you're talking about, 20, 40, 60. So definitely, if you call 60, so what's the time frame for 60? You want to put a time frame on that one?
I'm not a good. It's too many external. So here's what I tell people. Here's my time frame. I leave everybody on. It's tonight or 10 years from now, because I don't know when the banks will go down. Mm-hmm. I don't know when they're going to have all these other currency crises going on in the world. So a lot of the external factors will play into this. So it could take it could take 10 years if everything's great in the world and nothing bad happens. Everybody just kind of keeps trucking along like they are now. But we could wake up tomorrow and there could be a major crisis somewhere, and people need to start storing their wealth in Bitcoin, and the demand will go way up, and the price will start moving up. So
yeah,
1 day to 10 years is my time frame. 1 day to
10 years. That sounds fair enough. So in the meantime, hodl and get your weight up. How about that one?
Yes, I love it, man. Thanks a lot for having me on.
All right, my friend. Appreciate you. Have a good evening. Everybody, it's been good as always having you join us. See you guys tomorrow night. Tell a friend, and make sure you share this video so more people can join us and learn about this good stuff happening out here. So enjoy your night. Peace.